field units.
This is a battle where me and Obelix were going to test the new Slav factions, and I said, okay, just pick a faction and I'm going to play that faction. So he said, okay, a decent faction, a faction that isn't too good but isn't too bad either. So the Geats against the something Slavic faction. So my army, we have a bit of early action here because of guerrilla deployment, but my army consists of, you saw the Celtic army. The Celtic army works great. So I figured, okay, let's try something a bit similar. Let's try high charge infantry, and let's try units that have berserk, because berserk is going to remove the exhausting effect of the poison shot. I also have some slingers here, 2 archers, 4 slingers in the center. I have 4 Nordic horse lords, backed up by Norse berserkers here. Then I have the Nordic axe warriors in the center. Part of the problem with this army is I only have 8 infantry units in it, because I picked these more expensive Nordic horse lords, and that's one of the things that's great about the Celts. They have a lot of cheap units. The Norse berserkers are not cheap units, and the Nordic axe warriors very cost effective, but not as cheap as the Celtic shock units. So a bit of skirmishing early on here. Obelix has brought 4 of these Slavic horse raiders, I think. Yeah, pretty cheap stuff. Then he's done something very smart. He has Slavic spearmen, 4 Slavic spearmen, I believe. He has 4 Slavic axe warriors, 57 charge bonus, a very, very nice second line unit. A nice frontline unit as well for charging in. Then he has his axe general here, Warlord's Guard. And I think he also had some, yeah, here we go. Perun's champions. Headhunt, shield wall, disciplined, encourage. Very high armor. Very high health, I mean. And of course, the 3 Slavic archers. Very, very, very annoying Slavic archers. So my plan is to try an all-out assault, because now I've tried surrounding the Slavs, and that worked reasonably well, going in from all angles. But a frontal assault might be problematic. Let's see how it works. So the Nordic Raiders are getting kills here. They are an expensive unit. In hindsight, I probably wouldn't have brought these guys because they're so expensive. And you can see the second they get hit by the poison shot, they actually get exhausted. However, this is kind of intentional, because now the poison shot is going to hit the Slavic horse raiders as well. And since Obelix is sending in his units into this fight, I am going to be able to have this one unit be exhausted, and this unit using some ability and courage. I just want them to get a few more kills. But it turns out it's not a cost-effective trade for me. I lost quite a few men, and Obelix was very smart. He stopped firing at the blob when he saw that his units got hit by the poison. So I'm sending up my Nordic bows here, doing a bit of skirmishing. These guys, I'm just keeping them here to basically to protect my Nordic horse lords from these guys. The Slavic archers are the cheapest poison archers, extremely cheap, so they do not have the extended range. I made a mistake here. I thought they were the guys that had extended range. This is why I'm keeping so far back with my infantry and pushing up my skirmishers here. I want them to waste ammunition to have less ammunition available for the late game, and I want my hurlers to do a bit of damage to them. Also moving up on the flanks here, because I see there are no archers here. So I'm going to move up on the flanks, but this is a problem because I'm overextending my skirmishers here. Because I'm to be honest, I am afraid of these Slavic archers here. I do fear the Slavic archers. The Nordic hurlers are firing on them, doing a bit of damage. So taking fire on Nordic hurlers, I'm more than happy to take the fire on my Nordic hurlers. So far things are not terrible. However, there is this Slavic horse raider coming in. That Slavic horse raider is exhausted, so it's going to be very, very, very slow. I'm trying to fire on this Slavic horse raider, but I'm not going to be able to fire at it enough to kill it, it seems. But it looks like it's going to go down eventually. But of course, this being a cavalry unit, the Nordic hurlers are taking massive casualties here. And a bit of a poor decision here. I'm sending in my Nordic raiders. But I want to get these archers off the field. And these guys, my Nordic bows, are exhausted now because they are taking the poison fire. Sending my Nordic raiders, I didn't actually take any fire on them here, and I want to get this poison unit off the field. I want to push my Nordic hurlers up, so that if any units are on fire, they are going to take the fire. Continuing, but this is what the poison does. My units are now exhausted. If these guys weren't exhausted, they would have made it down the line. But since they are exhausted, they won't be able to get to these guys, and Obelix's Slavic Horse Raiders are going to be able to run in and take care of my extremely slow Nordic Raiders. I'm going to try to get them out of the engagement, but they are just so slow that I can't really do anything with them now, because they are exhausted. And sending in my Nordic Axe Warriors against the archers and the spears here. Should get some decent kills. So far I'm thinking this is going pretty well. I'm getting in with my axes. I'm getting rid of some of those annoying archers. But the thing is, and this is really going to come back to bite me. I didn't notice this as the battle was going on because I was busy microing, but it just felt like nothing worked the way it was supposed to. And the reason why is, let's see here. I'm sending in my Norse Berserkers there, sending in my Nordic Axe Warriors. But the reason why nothing works the way it's supposed to, the way it usually does, is of course because quite a few of my units are exhausted. My Nordic Axe Warriors here are exhausted, so they're charging in slower than I expected them to. The Norse Berserkers, though, they are not exhausted, even though they've taken poison shot. That's very interesting. Over here, my Nordic Axe Warriors are not exhausted. Let's see here. They're going into the shield wall, but they are dropping. Let's see here. When the poison... That's the poison effect wearing off there. These guys are going berserk, so they are now fresh. Doing a decent job against the Slavic Axe Warriors, but here's the thing with a unit going berserk. And there are just so many weird things happening in this battle, and watching the replay I finally understand what's going on here. Because these guys are chasing these guys that were breaking. And now they are pulling through this unit because of berserk. They're pulling through this unit. They're getting some kills, sure, but they are also... Notice they threw their precursors here. They're also pulling through the unit and losing a lot of men that way. So that's the bad thing about berserk. You don't really have control over what your unit is doing when they are berserk. So very interesting. A few unexpected things happening here. My Nordic Horse Lords getting into the Slavic Archers should be able to get them off the field there, snuck them in. Yeah, getting my Nordic Horse Lords here into the Slavic Horse Raiders. At this point, I'm fairly certain I've won. I'm looking at the battlefield and I'm like, okay, I've got this. I'm breaking through. Most of the archers have been taken off the field. I'm sending the Nordic Horse Lords in towards the general. But he has a lot of health, so he won't just keel over and die. I have to disengage a bit with my Nordic Horse Lords because of these spears. And Obelix is doing a good job with the Slavic Horse Raiders, getting a lot of my skirmishers off the field. Over here I'm getting a bit too close. Our men flee the field of battle. But the Nordic hurlers are exhausted, and this is one thing that I didn't expect as well. I like the timing, because so many units are exhausted, the timing is completely off, because I pull out the unit when I think it's going to be safe to pull it out. But in actual fact, I'm pulling it out too slowly because it's exhausted. I didn't take that into consideration. And when I played this battle, I didn't know that the poison exhaustion basically never went away. Other than the unit going berserk. So that's pretty bad. And you see my Nordic raid leader as well. He's exhausted. And he's killing a lot of stuff though. But he is exhausted. So this is a nightmare late game scenario for me. We have the forest here, my important units are exhausted, and anytime my units take fire, even though there are only these few archers here, anytime they hit a unit, I'm going to take casualties, and I'm going to be very, very slow indeed. My, oh no, poison on the Nordic Radiator. So yeah, he's exhausted already. And that time, giving these archers the time to get in additional volleys, it's just so important for the Slavs. So I'm redirecting the charge into the Slavic Axe Warriors, but the Slavic Axe Warriors have a very nice charge themselves. So the Nordic Radiator is going to struggle here. I need to send in my Nordic Horse Lords to support and to get these Slavic archers off the field. My general dies, and at this point I get a sinking feeling that I'm going to lose the battle. I'm thinking, shit, I lost my general, morale is going to be a problem, units are routing, and at this point I start noticing that some of my units are exhausted and they don't recover. So fighting in the forest here with my Nordic Horse Lords, because the general died, I'm activating Headhunt, then disengaging. My Norse Berserkers, even though they have decent morale, they have gotten a lot of kills, they are wavering now. These Slavic Axe Warriors are a pretty damn good unit.
Our men flee the field.
So I just want redirecting here, going into the Slavic Horse Raiders, trying to kill them off. Very tired Nordic Horse Lords going in for the charge here. Let's see how well they do against Perun's champions. Now they are exhausted, so that is a problem. Perun's champions only winded. Continuing through after having charged them, and they are taking massive casualties. So I want to continue into these Perun's champions here. Going in with both Nordic Horse... No, I'm redirecting the charge actually. And going into Perun's champions over here. So both Perun's champions should be taken off the field. Standard Attila stuff. The heavy cavalry goes in and absolutely destroys melee infantry, even though the melee infantry is heavy and has, let's see, it's very heavy. Using Headhunt here as Obelix at a very good timing. So Perun's champions are not going to be going off the field, but I do have a problem here. Obelix has mainly infantry left. I have this one archer, and I have these Nordic Horse Lords. Let's just fast forward, because I think I'm going to be spending some time trying to regain my stamina here. And the Nordic bows, I'm going to try to fire on the Slavic spears. They don't have the best missile blocks. I want to get some shots off before they go into the forest. Let's see how here. I don't think these guys actually have taken... No, they haven't taken any poison damage, so they're not exhausted. I'm going to go and charge the Warlord a bit there. Activating Headhunt, so the Warlord won't... I don't think it would have broken anyway, but... going into the spears now, losing a lot of men that way. And these spears are... I think I could have won if Obelix didn't have these spears left on the field. I think I could have won, so very nice that he had those spears in the end. And it's easy to overlook a unit of spears, because you never think a unit of spears is going to be the unit that's going to come back to bite you in the ass. But I like Obelix's Slavic army here. The spears makes it hard to use cavalry effectively, and the ability to exhaust important enemy units cannot be understated or overstated. I mean, if you look at the kills here, my infantry doesn't do that terrible of a job. I have 8 infantry units, whereas these Perun's champions did an exceptional job, some of them, and 322 kills on the Slavic Horse Raiders. That's very, very good. It's not that my army didn't perform horrible, but I certainly made some mistakes in timing and the way I engaged these Venetians of Obelix. I think I gave the Slavic archers way too much respect, in that I didn't keep in mind that those guys were not the ones with extended range. So only 150 range. I could have been more aggressive here, and that would have meant that my infantry would have gotten in faster. Now, if we match up just the infantry here, my infantry will do a good job against Obelix's infantry. However, when my infantry is slowed down, and when it's having 2 lines of infantry. I've never actually thought about this before, but having 2 lines of infantry, the way Obelix had here, means that when I charge in and break the spears with my Norse berserkers, and there's a second line, the Norse berserkers going berserk will not actually attack the second unit effectively. They will pull through and they will lose a lot of men. So that's what's great about having a lot of units with berserk. If you have 8 units with berserk and they all go berserk, it's glorious. They'll never tire. They'll fight to the end. They'll just wreck entire armies unless there's cavalry or skirmishers. But these guys are too expensive, and the Norse berserkers are too expensive. And if you look at the one of the reasons why I think the Celts are so great against the Slavs is that, sure, there are other factions that have units capable of going berserk, but not as cheap as the Celts, and you can't deploy them as close as you can with the Celts. Let's see, we have was it the Tanukids that had those? Let's see here. Not the Tanukid ambushers. Lochmids. Nope. Himyar, perhaps. You of course have the authors chosen. They are in a category of themselves. Let's see, by themselves, I mean. Lochmids, Himyar, Tanukids. Where are you guys? Oxum. There we go. No, they have the killing spree and immune to fear, scare everyone. Okay, so no berserk there. Well, with the Celts, for example, the Caledonians, Scotha's teachers and Celtic berserkers, 425, 325. You could get that's Celtic Warband. You can almost get twice the amount of units for the same price as the Norse berserkers. And when you throw the Celtic Axe Warriors on top, you have a lot of infantry, and a lot of infantry that's going to be immune to exhaustion. And it actually works in favor of the Celts that they do not have very expensive cavalry, because you only, against the Slavs, you only need cavalry to go in, take care of the archers, hold down some enemy units, while these guys and gals do the real killing. Other factions can work against the Slavs as well, but you can really start struggling, because if you're a power faction, like say you are Himyar, and you have units like these. Let's see here. Yeah, you have Almaca's Lancers. Let's say you have 4 Almaca's Lancers. You have some Authors Chosen. Authors Chosen are great because they are so cheap. But let's say this is your cavalry, Almaca's, and for melee cavalry you have some armored camel warriors. Well, these units are already very slow. When these guys get hit by poison and they're immediately exhausted, they are super slow. Easy to intercept with spears, and if the let's see, yeah, it's going to give the Slavic archers and the hunters or the elite guys with the heavy poison, it's going to give them a lot of time to deal the damage. And the infantry of the Slavs, what Obelix brought here with Slavic Axe Warriors and Perun's champions, when other units, infantry units, are exhausted, the stats on these guys are actually very nice. They are not that impressive. They are decent. The melee defense is decent. When you slash the stats of other units in half, essentially. These units certainly become a lot better. You just need to not take any friendly fire from the poison, or that's going to affect you as well. So with the Slavs, if you target key units of the enemy with and make them exhausted, pluck a few of their number, then the Slavic infantry certainly becomes a lot more capable of handling those units. And cavalry that's slowed down is a relatively easy target for units like these spearmen with a 30 bonus versus cavalry. So, I mean, and you also have specialist units. I haven't tested the horse cutters yet, but they look like they could be nice. If Almakas lancers are slowed down, for example, and you're looking at a unit like this that has rapid advance and cavalry counter tactics, I don't even know if cavalry counter tactics works, because they're listed as having a 10 bonus versus infantry. However, let's just say it works, then it's going to be very hard to avoid getting bogged down in the late game. And the Slavs are all about exhausting, picking numbers, and then having a massive advantage in the late game until it gets patched. Strength and honor.